Hey, Goran. Great to see you again. For those of you who don't know me yet, I'm Blake Hutchison. I'm the CEO of Flippa. Flippa is the number one platform globally to buy and sell online businesses. We have buyers and sellers all over the world. In fact, just in excess of 70% of our transactions are cross border. And as a result of that, we've expanded our representation across the world. And more recently, Goran, who is a long-time user of Flippa, has joined us as one of our M&A advisors and business brokers based in the Balkans. In fact, Goran is based in Croatia, living on a beautiful island on the other side of the world. For those of you who don't know, I'm based here in Melbourne, Australia. Good morning, Goran. How are you?
Good morning, Blake, and good evening at the same time. I would say for everybody over 40, it's a bit peculiar, but it's just another day at the office at Flippa. We're a global company, and it's very exciting.
Yeah, we are super global. We've got obviously buyers and sellers all over the world, but we've also got Flippa staff and business brokers on hand in all markets of the world to help entrepreneurs get the exits that they've been dreaming of. Goran, you've known about Flippa for some time. Maybe just introduce yourself as an entrepreneur and then how you first came about the Flippa platform.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I've been on Flippa since 2012. So it's roughly 13 years running, in obviously now in a different position. So it's also been a transition for myself. I've been an entrepreneur for nearly 2 decades. I've always been scrappy, starting businesses, selling businesses, helping other entrepreneurs start their business, sell their business. So the entire ecosystem is fairly familiar to me, and not just local creation business, but also global. Since I ran a venture capital funded startup, I went to Silicon Valley for a tenure there. So the businesses that I have started have been with clients from around the world. So, with clients from Japan, Australia, Europe, USA, all over the place. So it's been really exciting. And back in 2012, I heard about Flippa, and I really liked this opportunity where I could, uh, at first, just kind of the money that I saved up, buy a small business, like a side gig. But it wasn't that I was looking for a passive income or anything. It was just about the learning experience of buying something and then reselling it, growing it, and I was really, really, really amazed by that opportunity to begin with, which attracted me to Flippa.
And you're now obviously still running a couple of different endeavors, but you've come over to Flippa to help us out because, as we've spoken about, the Flippa platform is seeing demand from all over the place. And so you've joined us from no doubt sunny Croatia, and you're helping out entrepreneurs finding their exits when they're based in the Balkans.
Yeah, so the cross-border opportunity is amazing at Flippa, and uh, I, I don't want to say I got tired about the venture capital route and how local entrepreneurs are taught to raise venture capital funding and build the next Facebook and go big or go home, and that's perfectly fine and it has a place. But I what I really like and what I like more and what I like about Flippa are these stories where somebody starts a business, a YouTube channel. We've seen this from Igor in Sveta Nedelja. Just the other day, another entrepreneur came forward where they sold a gaming blog for several $100,000, $500,000, which is life changing, not just for the entrepreneur, but also their family, because now they get to build this huge house with a swimming pool and help their parents and make a local difference. So it's absolutely different from, let's say, uh, Rimat's supercar, who raised $1 billion, and that's amazing too, right? But I think this is maybe more down to earth and maybe more available, and you could do it much quicker. You could do it in sometimes even in a year, 2 years, 3 years, where the venture capital route can take ages. and it's high risk, high reward. As I've seen myself, sometimes you make these big promises, we're going to be $1 billion company, and then 2-3 years in, you find yourself still working at the business, and you're kind of, okay, I'm making some money, but it's definitely not $1 billion company. So investors are, especially local European investors, are much more risk averse compared to Silicon Valley investors. So you get that pressure, and then the local community kind of rejects you because you haven't filled up to this promise that you're going to build $1 billion company, like it's a coin toss. Well, 50-50, we do it, 50 we don't, right? But it's not. It's much more challenging. Whereas buying a small website on the Flippa and then selling it as for 6 figures, I would say the degree of chance is through the roof, and it's available. And Flippa is here to support this cross-border buyer-seller communication and connecting those two pieces.
Yeah, so I'll talk about how that works a little bit for the benefit of the listeners today. So Flippa's a cross-border M&A marketplace. As we've obviously spoken about, Goran's based in Croatia, I'm based here in Australia. The good news is, with the Flippa platform, we have this fantastic AI matching capability. And the AI matching capability is 2 graph neural networks. We have a graph neural network, which basically looks at the likeness between one buyer and another, and therefore infers that what one buyer likes, the other buyer may like similarly. And then we have a graph neural network sitting on the sell side, which maps the likeness of one asset to another. Those then intersect and create the matching. That happens 425,000 times a week, in excess of over 20 million matches. So if you're an entrepreneur in the Balkans, there is no other platform on earth that can give you this reach, 1, but then 2, precise matching to ensure that the buyers who inquire are buyers who are most likely to acquire your asset. And that's why we see so much cross-border trade. And it's also how we can empower entrepreneurs wherever they are in the world to get a deal done with the platforms. That's really powerful. So what is the role then of a local advisor, Goran? What is your job?
Yeah, it's a great question. So role number 1 would be to wake up the local entrepreneurs to this opportunity, because as I've seen on the Flippa Insights page, which I've shared numerous times with the people that I'm talking to, the numbers in this part of the region, in this part of Europe, are not encouraging compared to France, Spain, Germany, Italy, UK, and then the rest of the world, obviously the US leading the pack. So that would be my first role. Tell them, look, I've been on Flippa for 2012. I made over $100,000 with it. Part-time, I was running an API business, so it's not like I had to leave my day job and kind of go all in on Flippa. So it's something that you could play around and test the waters before jumping in and completely commit with a big acquisition, be it selling your business or buying your business. And then the second one would be just with meetups. We've had meetups in Zagreb, in Belgrade, so to connect the people that are already on Flippa and have heard about Flippa maybe 5-6 years ago or 2-3 years ago. Then for me, it's to educate them that Flippa has changed since I've joined Flippa, since I started buying and selling businesses on Flippa, and we've continuously added new technology and new opportunity to the platform. You've just alluded to the AI buyer matching, and obviously we have some new things in the kitchen that we are not ready to disclose yet. So that will be that, and then just bridging the gap between investors, buyers in US, UK, and the local entrepreneurs who aren't exactly versed in the M&A world and creating a listing, selling the company. There's a lot of hoops to go through, a lot of rules and regulations that I can help them with, and also just some typical accounting questions that these entrepreneurs have. So obviously I tell them, I'm not a tax advisor, but I know how accounting and taxes work in Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia, Serbia, and the neighboring countries, which are sometimes different than UK, US, where maybe the buyers are coming from. So that's it. I'm here just to assist in bridging this gap.
Yeah, I mean, our advisors do a great job. Obviously, the platform can go some part of the way, but without people like you, deal structuring becomes a challenge, as well as just being that conduit, because selling a business is quite emotional. And so you want to remove some of the emotion and put an advisor between buyer and seller to ensure that the deal is more likely to get done. So, what advice would you give founders who are in the Balkans region, broader than that, the Eastern European region, who would like to position their online business for a successful exit within the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I thought about it a lot. And it's also, you can unpack it in two different ways, like if they're selling a business or if they want to buy a business. So it's two different routes. The gap that I've seen is not really geographical, like the buyers in the US or UK, and then the sellers are from here. The buyers are really in the multiple expectations. Like when somebody is selling a business for a, let's say, 4 or 5x multiple, and then the buyers are looking for a 1, 2, or maybe 3x multiple. And then we have this gap between sellers and buyers. So narrowing that gap would be, I see that as my job as well, but also where some local entrepreneurs who are not versed in M&A and have heard stories of 10x exits, it's kind of to bring them down to earth and explain to them, like, these are the statistics that we've seen that the businesses sell, and if you're really looking for 10x, then that's something, I don't want to say on planet Mars, but it's a different story, you know. So that's, I think, the biggest piece of advice that I see around multiples.
Yeah, a lot of people are reading news that relates to bigger businesses, venture-backed businesses, publicly listed businesses, 8 and 9-figure exits, and the multiples for those businesses are different because those businesses are operating at scale. Those businesses are often growing extraordinarily quickly at scale, and there's also a fantastic level of investor liquidity available to investors for a business of that scale. For small businesses, you tend to not get as an aggressive multiple as a function of it being small. So thanks for that. And what are the trends that we're now seeing? Obviously, Flippa publishes a great deal of information. We've got our insights page. But what are the trends that you are seeing in the online business M&A space that you think that people should be aware of?
So one trend, which is really obvious, is growth. We've seen more buyers, more sellers, more opportunity, more obviously more M&A brokers from Flippa helping this transition. So growth has been consistent throughout the years. Obviously AI is huge. Anything related to AI, websites, groups like on Facebook groups, like anything related to AI, and YouTube channels that kind of surprised me as well. This is the fastest, as you obviously know, it's the fastest growing category on Flippa. I've already mentioned Igor from Sveta Nedelja, who sold a YouTube channel for $600,000. And they are selling for lower multiples that I've seen compared to some other businesses. Whether that's valid or not, long term or not, that's something to be seen. But those are the I would say the three biggest trends I've seen in the past few years.
So let's flip it on its head a little bit. Let's talk about the buyers for a minute. Clearly, Flip is a platform enabling entrepreneurs across the globe to exit, which implies that there are also a network of investors and buyers. So the investors and buyers will be made up of side hustlers. They're typically looking for smaller assets where they want some supplementary income. We also have acquisition entrepreneurs, or what is known as entrepreneurship through acquisition. And those people are essentially looking to buy their next job. So they'll acquire something and use it as their primary income source. We then, of course, have strategic institutional and family office investment where they look to buy something that is complementary to their existing portfolio. For those in the region, how do you talk to them? What do you think that they can benefit from as it relates to the Flippa platform? And why do you think they should even consider acquiring complementary businesses or digital assets?
Yeah, so just to clarify, we are talking about buyers in the region right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so for the buyers, what I've seen so far is that they are not as open to the high profit multiples compared to the US, UK buyers. Doesn't necessarily mean $1 million businesses and so on. It starts from six-figure businesses as well. So I would tell the local buyers to be more open to higher multiples. And when I say higher, obviously I don't mean 10x, but not to expect the return on investment to happen within a year. That's really, I mean, things have to fall in places really, really well. And you really have to know how to take the business and hit the ground running day one and start growing it to get such a fast return on investment. It can happen. I've seen it happen, but you're selling yourself short because you're leaving good companies on the table who are maybe asking for a decent 2-3x multiple, not outrageous. If obviously if you play your cards right, you could still get the return on investment faster than the 2-3x. But I've just seen some good companies, good buyers with good budgets, kind of just not looking at good companies for a 2-3x multiple, which is still a good opportunity. So that would be my biggest take for really everybody in the Europe and then Eastern Europe and the Balkans.
Maybe the best way to think about it is competitive tension, because if you're a regional buyer, the reality is you're up against global buyers. And so if you come in with a mindset that you're going to get something on the cheap, the reality is there's other buyers who will be more amenable to not necessarily a premium price, as you said, but more amenable to a reasonable price. And as a result of that, you're likely to miss out because clearly an entrepreneur is incentivized to sell at a premium or sell for the highest possible price. And the highest possible price may, at least at this stage, come out of a different market. So it's one thing to consider. What about?
Yeah, and if I can just add one other thing is I've seen some entrepreneurs when they're talking about selling their business, they would like to see a 10x return, and then when they're talking about buying a business like growing through acquisition, then they're capped at a 2x, which is kind of displaced. And then I totally understand the European entrepreneurs who are at a somewhat disadvantage compared to the US entrepreneurs who have all these banks and loans and SBAs available to them, compared to the Europe's entrepreneurs. When they go to the bank, they're really risk averse, and the only thing probably they'll give you a loan for is for a house, a bigger loan, or for a car. And when you tell them, I found this amazing business on Flippa, is doing $2,000, $3,000, €5,000 per month, and I want to buy it at a 3x multiple, the bank is just going to say, well, we are not going to give you the money for that, but if you want to buy a car or take this loan with a 7% interest rates, then you can spend it whatever you like. So I totally understand that they're at a disadvantage, but they're also missing the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps this leads to the conversation that you and I wanted to have about barriers to entry, because capital is more readily available for Americans. So venture capital is more readily available, seed capital is more readily available, friends and family capital is more readily available. It's a market that has become accustomed to debt, and so therefore capital is more readily available, and it's often less expensive as well in the US. But interestingly enough, one of the ways to plot your pathway as an entrepreneur is to leverage Flippa to exit one of your assets, because that gives you liquidity, that gives you capital. And so for Eastern European, well, generally speaking, entrepreneurs all over the world, if you build something of value, 6-figure, 7-figure asset, utilizing the Flippa platform to exit puts you in the box seat for the next time you want to go at it alone, or for the next time you want to start something, because you'll now have liquidity. And that's a really compelling way to think about becoming an entrepreneur, exiting your first endeavor, proving out that you can actually build something, and then being able to redeploy that capital in any way you want. Maybe you want to buy a nice house, maybe you want to buy a nice car, or maybe you want to fund your next endeavor, or for that matter, somebody else's endeavor.
Yeah, I agree. There was an article that went viral just the other day where a local entrepreneur sold a gaming website for a few $100,000, and then he started building this huge house with a swimming pool for the tourists, because that's the typical go-to solution when I have a large chunk of cash. Let's put it in real estate. That's what typically Croatians do. I really like the first part of the story, and then the second one was going to be, well, of course, he probably asked his parents or the local community, what do you think I should do with all that money? And then their advice was, well, just build a house and rent it to tourists. This is what we do here. So, and get the return on investment in 10 years. That's the typical return here. So I would have played it differently, but then again, this is my role here to kind of point the entrepreneurs kind of, okay, if it worked the first time, why not do it the second time as well?
Fantastic. All right. Well, I've been here for 7 years. You've been here for on a year. Let's talk a little bit about the future of Flippa.
Yeah, so I just saw the other day that it's your Flip anniversary, 7 years to date, and well, obviously, congratulations. And I really wanted to ask you, since there's been a huge shift. Obviously, I've signed up on Flippa in 2012, so I've seen the huge shift before you, after you, and in the past 7 years. And I so in the next 7 years, I think the shift is just going to grow bigger. I think we're going to see much more opportunity for the local entrepreneurs, and then multiplied around the world. I've just read a nice article in Singapore, The Independent, with Fiona doing great work over there. Obviously, Flippa has been accused being a U.S. centric company with many buyers from the US. So our US team is obviously doing a great job, and I think within the next 7 years we're going to see more local entrepreneurs coming to fruition and then taking this opportunity. And AI is going to play a huge role as well. We're doing a lot on that front as well. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you can tell me how you see it in the next 7 years.
Yeah, so we are building the financial operating system that will democratize M&A for the masses. And so what that means is you can imagine Flippa building more products that govern M&A for the small business economy and make it easier and more efficient. You can imagine us expanding into more markets. You've alluded to Singapore, and we're obviously talking to you right now based in Croatia, and you can imagine us supporting more customers. So the more products bit is really exciting, because obviously M&A is a workflow. You've got the valuation, you've got the information memorandum, you've got the matching of buyers, you've got the negotiation, you've got the contracts and paperwork, and then finally you've got payments. And so that end-to-end M&A process has to be supported by unmatched infrastructure. And so imagine more products which will govern that. And of course, agentic AI is quite interesting right now. And so Flippa believes that, of course, the relationship side of M&A will continue. But there are some pieces within that workflow which are quite cumbersome and quite burdensome. So we fully expect that we will build layers within the platform to make those things easier to do. More markets is about language, currents, and currency. And so at the moment, Flippa is English language, and it's mostly in the USD currency. But you can expect over the next 6 to 12 months a massive investment from Flippa in localizing the platform end to end to support all languages and all markets. And then more customers. This is really probably best defined by categories. So we expanded into YouTube as a category, therefore more customers. We expanded into newsletters as a new category, therefore more customers. And we've supported for a long time SaaS businesses, e-commerce businesses, online publishing in general, and iOS and Android apps. The new world of building a business will be built on AI, and vibe coding is a thing. There are great, big, fast-growing companies which are enabling people to build companies at world record pace. And so you can expect that a lot of the categorization that Flippa will build into the platform will be orientated to the way in which people build for the future. So more products, more markets, more customers. Over 7 years, I expect us to be doing 7 times the trade that we are doing right now, and therefore I'm extraordinarily bullish on what we're building.
Yeah, I'm also as well. It's super exciting. What just alluded to. I think the mountain of new apps that's going to hit the market, the internet, in the next let's say 7 years. It's going to be amazing, and we're going to be there to help them transition if they want to change hands, obviously. So it's an exciting opportunity.
Awesome, Goran. Well, this is a good snapshot. We will probably do this once a quarter, give people a snapshot for what's going on in the Balkans and across Eastern Europe, given your insights and knowledge of the market. So thanks for the quick chat today.
Yeah. So I would like to invite everybody to connect with me on LinkedIn and Facebook, where I mostly post recent updates regarding Flippa and new deals that I'm managing and that are available. So that also works. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thanks, Blake.